First of all, for those who know me, it's nothing new. For those who don't know me, I'm now since 18 years in Ukraine. I'm loving it. I'm doing well. I'm now having not any plan to move away. And yeah, I'm doing quite good things here. I'm living here, first of all. I'm married to a Ukrainian girl, having 2 kids. I'm working as a vice president of marketing for this company, Infopulse. And beside this, I also have some little babies, eggs in a basket that hopefully, yeah, will see the light of this world. Today I will gonna show you some success stories, some insights of our work at Infopulse. I will touch blockchain only on the side a little bit. Mostly you know about it. Those who don't know about it, it's just the right thing to listen. So, I mean, you also should know where we come from. It's not that I'm pitching you now Infopulse or our products, but actually Infopulse is an outsourcing company here from Ukraine with 1,600 engineers. And you can imagine that such a company has a quite big outreach. So we are doing normal development, sophisticated development, and blockchain is just yeah, a little part of it. It's even 2% or 1% of the revenue only. But it's a door opener. It's innovation. Innovation is a driver for new businesses. You don't do the challenges of today with the tools from yesterday. So we also adapted. We also jumped on this train, actually already 2 years ago, with some first POCs, with some first trials, with the first partnership, thanks to Distributed Lab. We connected to them 2 years ago. Yeah, being an outsourcer, developing software for different companies from Europe, from America, from Northern Europe, you of course more and more meet those companies, not only small companies, big companies, they're interested in this technology and they want to know what is going on here, and they also want to have their first touching, their first smelling of what is going on here. And furthermore, they are also transforming it into real products that actually are already alive. Before I go to these stories, I would like actually to make a buzz that we are great here in Ukraine. We are that great that even countries like France or Germany are behind of us. If you compare Ukraine with Germany, we have half of the citizens here in Ukraine, around 50 million. In Germany, we have 80 million. And if you look to the number of graduates, of academics, which are leaving the university, which is 130,000 a year here in Ukraine, compared to Germany with 90,000, I mean, there is potential. And sometimes it's not used in the right way. Not only, but I think the crisis, the situation that we are facing thanks to America and Russia brought something good also to Ukraine. No matter that businesses went down because of the crisis, some other businesses went up. We see 2,000 startups, and I'm not speaking about an imbiss, about a shashlik restaurant on the corner. I'm talking about IT startups. I'm speaking about valuable startups. We see people like Soros investing into Cyclum or Branson coming more often to Ukraine. Also Wozniak was here for several times. So we see actually stars that are coming here and promoting Ukraine, promoting themselves, but most probably also promoting Ukraine. We have great startups which are coming from Ukraine, or the roots are from Ukraine, or at least the founders, their families have been born in Ukraine. Bitfury, we know they are here with Exonom. PetCube, this is the IoT device to play with your cat and with your dog when you are at home, when you are at work, and the pets are still at home. Luxury, the AI-driven face recognition application, which was sold actually to Snapchat, where you in real time can change your face, and in real time a mask, like an animal or an old person, is transferred on your face. So you see there are a lot of very valuable startups that not only are known here in Ukraine, they're actually known worldwide. And to be honest, this is what I want to say. That's one of the main messages beside blockchain and what we do. You are part of it, and you can make something out of it, like all the others. Unfortunately, there are some obstacles. When we look to Ukraine, the government is quite lousy. They're not doing something. They're not supporting the startup community in Ukraine. Blockchain is another topic. Here we see some drive because of fighting corruption. But most likely it is driven by public support, whether venture capital or companies like Infopulse, which are supporting the startup scenario. And we are also doing our part. As I said, we are supporting startups, we are reaching out, we are writing content in English that is read by our customers. And so we are making a buzz about Ukraine, about the startups, about innovations which are going on here. So, introduction. Now you know us a little bit better, you know me a little bit better. Let's go to the real facts. And for those who know me and know my speeches, this is one slide which is always in the speech. And it makes sense. If you look to what Gandhi said, first they ignore you, then they laugh about you, then they fight you, and finally you won. And this is actually what we see. We are in the middle of this. Regulations is a kind of fighting. Facebook and Google, which don't want to have no more, I mean, there's a good side and a bad side, but they don't want to no more feature ICOs. They do pressure. Why they do it? First of all, because they got some messages from the top. And secondly, because they fear their business is running away. And there's a saying, never fuck with the revenue stream. So they, of course, will make a barrier into this new economy. But all these talks about blockchain and Bitcoin and ICOs and scam and technology, let's have a look to history. History can actually teach us what is good and what is bad. Unfortunately, we don't pay attention enough to it. Yeah, if I'm looking to wars, we know in thousands of years that wars is not needed, but still we are doing so. But let's have a look. First there was the mainframe, the first revolution actually. Let's imagine that still was needed. The first thing where it started to get critical was when there came the transformators, yeah, the possibility to put a PC on every desk. And there have been people which said, we don't need a PC at home. What for? That's bullshit. Now we have, every one of us has a PC at home, or at least a mobile phone. Then the third, when they connected all these computers together into a big network, it was first the military network, and then it got to university, and then we as final participant had the chance to use it. Everyone says, what is this bullshit? 1990s, I remember, I was 15 at that time, a little bit older. No one needs internet, that's rubbish. It's maybe in university they need it then to send each other these sophisticated academic documents. In the end, now everyone is using internet, and there are also protocols like TCP/IP or HTML. My babushka or my auntie, when they're using internet, they don't know anything about TCP or HTML. They are just using it. But anyway, they told us internet is not needed. Then there came the second revolution within the internet, which is the forced fulfillment actually. Also they said, oh, we don't need it, what for? We have one-to-one talks at work, at home, with our family. Who needs mobile phones? Who needs miniaturization? Who needs social media? And now everyone is in there, besides me. You don't find me in Facebook. And last but not least, we have the fifth materialization. And also now everyone says, that's bullshit, that's crap, we don't need it. But we definitely see the benefits, and in my talk now, last 10, 15 minutes, I will show you where is the benefits, where are the values, how the business is adopting it from the very little startup up to the big enterprises that are already earning millions and billions. And before I leave some little words, about the adoption, I mean, blockchain can make Ukraine great again. How that? 3 points. First point, it drives business. It creates working places, new employees. Secondly, the technology definitely can help. I mean, you have heard a lot of speakers, I don't go into details. It can help fighting corruption because of immutability, because of auditability and things like that. And the third point, it of course also even more gives a chance to monetize our personal asset, our working force. I don't know whom of you is a developer. If you just develop PHP, you get maybe 10, 15 bucks an hour. If you are a well-educated blockchain programmist, working from Ukraine, you can get $50, $40. If you're working over there in the States, $100, $200 is easy to get. So three points why blockchain is making Ukraine great again. And that's not only talking about Ukraine, that's actually a general trend that we see. It started much further. It started in 2009 and 2010, but the real adoption actually started in 2015. We saw the first ICO, we saw the first smart contract platform with Ethereum. We saw early adopters in 16 and 17. We saw the first POC. We saw banks, even they said, no, we don't need blockchain. We saw that they were doing adoptions and trying and testing and coming up with a quite questionable solution in their R3 consortium. And then we will see 2008 until 2024, where the technology get more mature, where POCs will turn into MVPs, minimal verbal products, and from there they turn into real products. Yeah, and finally, maybe then by 2025 we are mature, and there we already have the situation that no one is no longer talking about blockchain, but just about a decentralized way of working, living, communicating with each other. Before I go to the positive cases, let's also have a look to the negative cases. First the negative message, then the positive message. So there are obstacles with adopting the technology. And the most important two facts you can quicker read by yourself is actually what is written with big letters here on the left-hand side. We have the legal risk. This is what I already said in the beginning, where they try to fight us. They create regulations, they create barriers. Some are good, some are more bad. And the second one is, in contrast to this, that the infrastructure or the technology is still very young. No matter that we have Ethereum or that we have Exonum, still the technology is very young. And I don't know whether you can read this, but there are more obstacles. So there was the legal point, there is the confidency point, there is people are afraid that their business processes changes. They are afraid of losing their job. So that's also an obstacle, of course. So you have barriers within the companies, within the industries by itself. Technology, difficulty to build correct networks. We don't have enough developers, we don't have enough specialists yet. So there are a row of these obstacles, just to have mentioned a few for you that you understand. But beside the obstacles, there are real cases identified where still even the technology is young and other obstacles take place. There are cases identified that do make sense. I will tell you all of them, but for sure it's the banking, still it is. And I have two cases with me where I can show you that banks actually adopt the blockchain technology. It's not what they say outside, blockchain is bad. No, they're adopting it.
Jan, 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Government, insurance, healthcare, media. Actually, you see, the technology is not stopping by some industry. The technology is able to be adopted in any industry. The most important thing here is to understand, don't go bottom up, always go top down. What does it mean? Don't start with the technology. Don't start with, wow, blockchain is a hype, now I have to do something. Where is my business case where I can where I can put the blockchain in? That's not working. You have to go top down. Have a look to the business, have a look to the pain points and the problems, and then try to adapt the technology which is correct to solving this problem. I don't know whether 5 minutes are enough, so let's run through it. We at Infopulse, we are actually supporting all 3 stages. Let me define it as stages. Whether it's the very first stage, when we have startups that are within their ICO phase or in their pre-ICO phase, very, very young, very green behind the ear. We have startups, also blockchain, of course, which maybe even didn't run an ICO and collected money through private sales or friends and family, but they're already mature, they already have a product out there. And last but not least, I already also have some business-to-business cases for you. We start with the very first one. That's also actually our very first case that we developed at Infopulse together with Scandinavian Consortium and our mother company, Every, a syndicated loan solution. Loan is clear, a credit. Syndicated means there is a group of banks which are getting together to give a credit of $1 billion, of $10 billion to a country or to a big company, where one bank by itself don't take the risk or can't afford to give out such a big amount. There's created consortium, and they have to discuss with each other, they have to sign documents, they have to sign the contract, they have to process it, and at the moment it takes 30 days. With the help of blockchain technology, we can actually connect all the different banks. The banks are good, they have Bank 24 is top Nokia in Ukraine, they have good technology inside their bank. There's a second or third bank, they also might have good technology within their bank, but they're not interconnected. So at the moment a syndicated loan takes 30 days. When we use blockchain not as a currency, but blockchain as a possibility to streamline business processes, we can get down to 5 days. You imagine what savings we are talking about here. And of course banks would be stupid if they wouldn't accept this technology and didn't apply this technology. And what they're doing is they're experimenting it. They don't use their core systems where they transfer money. They start with Ripple, but they don't touch the core systems. They go from the back, let's say so, yeah? What are the systems where it makes sense? Where is our pain point? And then let's try to experiment. And the syndicated loan solution is actually in place. They had another solution before, which was not on blockchain. The UI stayed, only the backend was replaced. Another example is KYC. KYC, we hear more and more about it when we talk about blockchain, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these ICO stuff. Banks are adopting KYC based on blockchain. Why? Because there is a sense. If you once have been at a bank, you authorized yourself, you know about in Ukraine, 20,000 of documents, 40,000 of stamp, and everyone wants to have something, right? If you have done this process once, and it is a reliable partner who made the KYC process, why the others could not apply to this, what happened before? So if one bank is doing the KYC, they prove that you are you, your money is your money, they put it onto the blockchain, the information is stored, you have the key to this information, and when you go to the next bank, you don't have to do a KYC again, you just give your key and allow them to access these data which another bank before approved. And what is it? It's not a cryptocurrency, it's not a token, it's just, again, streamlining business processes. Land registry, we had Exonom, they had been successfully implementing land registry in Georgia. Infopulse is now successfully with its partner Every, with its mother company, implementing a land registry solution for Sweden. I don't go into the details, you have heard Exonom maybe, he talked a little bit about the pitfalls and problems with land registry and the pluses and minuses. What I can say so far, government understood, they want to do something, they do something, but in the end they only do it half the way. Because they just do a solution for Sweden. Georgia is just doing a solution for Georgia. There is no incorporation. There is no one ledger which is handling the land registry. And again, what we are doing is we are creating silos. We are creating closed source. If it's not open source, we are creating closed knowledge. And that's not the idea of blockchain. Anyway, it helps. It streamlines processes. They don't have paper archives no more. Proofs can be done in milliseconds, and transfer of these assets the same way is possible. Car registry is a very good example. Out of the automotive industry, also a very, very well-known brand, Korean brand, I can't say the name, NDA and so on and so forth. we helped them, and we are still on the way, helping them creating a car registry. Also, again, because of all the negative aspects that we are meeting here at the moment. Yeah? They buy the car in Germany, they play with the tachometer and with some other things, and then they sell the car here for very expensive money. Or the car is broken, you go to a dealer, instead of using a Volkswagen part, he's putting some Chinese part into it. You're buying a car and the guy says, I have made all these 10 checkups which I have to do once a year or twice a year, and you have to believe it. With the help of blockchain technology, you can register all these information into a ledger, into a database, which then can be accessed with certain rights and with certain possibilities by all the different stakeholders, whether it's the car producer, whether it's the part seller, whether it's the garage, whether it's the mechanic in the end who is working on your car and is spending an hour onto it. So again, no token, no cryptocurrency, streamlining business processes, bringing more value to you and bringing more safety and secureness to you. Clash of traders, give me a little bit more. I have some good cases which I want to show. I'm not going very deep into it. Clash of traders, they're doing trading business. They have day traders, they have all these different charts. I'm not a trader, I'm not into it, but you know what I mean, yeah? These cups and greens and reds, and that's boring. What have they done? They came up with the idea, let's make a gamification. Put all what we trade into a game, store it on the blockchain that no one can fake it, and in the end, in the game, we will be selecting a winner and making some fun of his trades, of his loses, of his wins. That's the first case out of the second category. If you remember, business to business, startups, ICOs. We're very proud, thanks to my visit in Odessa, BIP 001, where I got to know with Mr. Hodgkins. We are developing, together with IOHK, some parts of the Zencash system, whether it's the integration with Open Bazaar, to not only have some cryptocurrency, but have a cryptocurrency integrated into a platform where you actually can buy something and buy some goods with it. So you create economy, actually. Or we help them to develop a treasuring system, a DAO, which helps them actually that the community can say where Zencash should develop to. It's not Zencash a community, a company. It is us who can vote and can say, I want that Zencash is developing, implementing the solution, I don't know, into an airline shopping system. And last but not least, this is the most sophisticated thing that we are working with. And to be honest, I was doing mathematics at university and statistics to the third integral, if you know what I'm talking about. I was sitting with them talking. There was also Roman, you know. I didn't understand nothing. But we're doing consensus protocol implementation. We had the chance to develop a centralized crypto exchange platform, and also we helped to develop, not developing, we just made some consulting here for a diamond exchange. You know, blood diamonds, you know, the diamonds can be expensive. You maybe don't have $10,000, but you can, with $10, already participate in buying. Another case, this is then the very last one, ICOs. Remme, they're also here. They're a super sponsor, as we see. A perfect solution. That's, if not one of the best business and technical solutions I have seen in the ICO world. It taps a real problem, security, passwords, and finds a solution where no longer a centralized company is owning millions and billions of dollars like VeriSign and those colleagues, but they give the possibility to us humans. We are a part of the network, so we get incentivized. And last but not least, and then I will finish, that's Flux. Also quite interesting project connected to the gaming world. As for me, that's the very first project in the gaming world which understood what is needed. Some are also here, but what Flux is doing is they are actually creating an ecosystem. You know that economics, you have heard token economics. All these ICOs, you know why they are not successful? Because they do the same mistake which was done in the year 2000, in the 90s, when the internet boom started. The first one is, spend my money. Yeah, so they collected tons of money, and then they I don't know what they did. I know from Berlin. They bought a table for a meeting room, which cost $25,000. What for? I need a table for $25,000. Why I need to rent an office where the square meter costs $100 and $150 just to show off, or what? So that's the very first. They collect a bunch of money, 20 million. They don't know what to do. Just let's spend it. And the second mistake, what the ICOs are doing, they don't have an economics. They don't have a business model. They don't understand. They think they just put a seller and a buyer together, and so we have an ecosystem, and the token will grow. That's bullshit. Sorry for my wording, but sometimes I have to be direct. An ecosystem, an economy is only working if you have more than 2 stakeholders, 3, 4, 5. You combine them into one platform and you give them a possibility that they by themselves, without interfering of a centralized company, can communicate to each other, can exchange, can talk, whatever. You need to connect. And this is actually what Flux is doing. They are combining the gamers, the vendors, the community, the investors, and there was a 5th one. So they are combining all of these stakeholders of the game industry into one ecosystem, into one network, and that's why it's going to work. So this was my last case. Thank you very much for your time. Sorry for over-talking a little bit.
Thanks
If
a
you
lot
have
for an amazing
questions,
presentation. Yeah.